All right, welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us this morning on our talk on depression and empowerment. One of the first things I do want to say, everyone listening, including the replay as well too, is that we're not talking about depression from a medical perspective. We're not doctors. Anything that we discuss on here, you guys really seriously need to talk to a professional. This is more of everyday life that we can talk about depressions as colleagues, as friends. No, under no circumstances this meant to give you guys any advice or solutions on depression from a doctor's perspective. Are we good on that?
Yes, we are live streaming through Facebook.
Sweet. All right. All right, welcome. Mr. Ken Dixon. It's been years, my friend. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Hey, good.
Good.
All right, Ron. Now Ron's back on here. So let's do a quick intro. Ron, you were saying?
Yeah, I'm a CPA by trade, and so controller of a company here in Dallas.
Excellent. Ken, introduce yourself, my friend.
Ken Dixon, Canadian, now living in Mexico, running my retreat and my B&B and certified personal trainer, life coach, and blabber, but that's no longer around. So now I'm a certified vocal. So this will be fun, good, and interesting. I'm looking so forward to this.
That's awesome, man. And also Miss Leah, the life coach, who needs no introductions as well.
I'm Leah, life coach. I am a life coach. I used to be a counselor, so I've seen a lot of depression. I've seen a lot of stages of life and just a lot of avenues that I really wanted to talk about. So I'm so happy you guys are here. I love being a life coach. I'm also a social media marketing strategist. So I'm really very excited that this is live streaming on YouTube and Facebook all right now, and 3 platforms at one time. So I'm really geeking out over here. Go get vocal. I love it.
No, absolutely. And speaking of geeks, so I'm Carlos. Also, I own my own technology company called FI Technologies. I was born a geek at 13, man. That's my story. Everything geek, I love doing. Everything from cybersecurity to social media to platforms, doing some great shows with my co-host here, Leah, which I have to just share this quick story. The main reason I'm on here is not only from this amazing lady, but this gentleman also were the first 2 individuals who actually threw me head first in the water, sink or swim, in my first live broadcast back in the Blab days. So I will forever be grateful for that. And I'm glad to have you two now to be able to say that to you. Because I haven't been able to talk to you in a long time, Ken. So much appreciated, man. Yeah. So, hey, let's jump right in. The holidays are one of the holidays has just passed by. And we got more coming up with around with Christmas and all that. And it's a time where, although it's supposed to be joyous occasions and all that, we tend to kind of fall into this really lonely depression type of mode. A lot of people experience that as well. I've been guilty of that. I've got immediate family who have gone through this. And it is a disease. I never really understood it from the beginning. I always used to think, oh, you know what, things will get better. Walk it off, right? Do something, clear your head, and you'll be back in no time. But as I got to see this more and more, even with my own immediate family, it was really an eye opener that I couldn't just understand or come to, because I thought it can't be that bad, right? Until I got it too. So I kind of want to open up with that. Have some folks jump in and out, share some stories, things of how you've been, how you come across, depression, or how you've handled it, how you've gotten help, how you seek help. Anything else you want to add, Leah, or do you want to go a different direction with it?
No. I love the direction that it naturally flows in. So that's great to me. I just do want to make sure that all the new panelists coming in, scroll to the top, go ahead and put your title and your name and bio and stuff in the side corner. And then I also wanted to have people's understanding of what depression is, because I was looking into what depression was a little bit, and the way they technically define it is symptoms and behaviors that are unhappy and not satisfying for a longer period of 2 weeks. I think it was. I was trying to find the exact article, but I just want, before we get started, I don't want to hold it up anymore. I did want people to realize what they're defining depression as of and what to maybe look for as well. And I don't know if everybody saw on Facebook, I did put up a few questions that I thought could be on everybody's heart while they are, you know, in the comments. You can write it in the comments. And then I also wanted to get like a number or something that we assigned for people that wanted to get in the chair, Carlos.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Okay, so what number do we want to assign for getting in the chair?
Hey, let's go with number 1, right? Always works.
Okay. Okay, so number 1, put a number 1 in the comments if you guys want to get into the chair and say something, and we'll get you up there. And if you haven't been able to introduce yourself, please take the time to introduce yourself at that time and then go on with your point. And so I'm just going to the questions that I'm going to read off real quick, Carlos, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's there, and it's a premise of what people want to contribute. What is your understanding of depression? What is your opinion? What, in your opinion, causes depression? What can one do if they feel they are experiencing depression? What do you suggest people do to avoid depression? Do you recommend any exercises, techniques, or good practices to avoid depression or get out of depression? What can one do if you believe someone you love is experiencing depression? What is your understanding of empowerment? How do you empower yourself? How do you empower others? How have others empowered you? And what does empowerment look like to us as a whole? Now, I'm going to jump out and I'm going to type those into the comments so you guys can have those to go off of. So I just wanted to say those. Whichever one resonated with you first, you can lead with that, okay? And I thank you all so much for being here. And please know that this discussion is as much about the subject at hand as it is about us coming together on this amazing platform to be able to have this discussion. So I'm so thankful for you guys, and I'm so excited.
And hey, Leah, this is Ron. I'm not able to get into the chat box for some reason on my phone, but I was wondering if I could just speak for a couple of minutes.
Go for it, Ron. You got the floor, man.
I've had anxiety and depression for about 22 years, so I know it very well. And what I'll say is I think that anxiety and depression both may be terms that are overused. Everybody they're going to have ups and downs in life, right? What I found, even though I take medicine for depression, is that if I'm treating my body well and I'm eating well and I'm just practicing self-care, the chances of me getting into depression are much, much lower. And so from my perspective, if I'm in depression, forcing myself to practice that self-care will catapult me out of it. So anyway, I hope that helps someone.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Ron. Appreciate it, man. Melissa, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Introduce yourself, please, to everyone.
I'm good. You know, I just want to say there was a lot. I read the questions actually this morning, and just to touch on a couple of things, I really don't think personally that there is anything that per se that can be done about depression. I think it's a chemical imbalance of some sort that one may be experiencing that. And I think in order to determine that, that's where a lot of, therapy, I definitely recommend therapy, because there needs to be a starting point. You need to know what is triggering the depression, because for many reasons we understand people, it can be due to trauma. It could just be a number of things. Now, as the gentleman said before me, he finds that if he eats certain things and if he eats right, if you will, he's more likely not to have those feelings or whatever those feelings are. Because I mean, depression comes in different forms. Depression can be a lot of people will stop eating. It could be, just a lack of, things that you used to like to partake in, go to the movies. You isolate yourself away from people. There's many people cry. There's a numerous amount of things that may cause someone to feel depressed. For myself, I've been in abusive relationships. And there was at some point, when going through the abusive relationship, there was a time that I did feel like, maybe death would be better than going through what I'm going through. You go through those moments because, for a lot of people, they may not be able to say what's going on, because of a lot of victim shaming. But one thing that I definitely did realize is that it was not normal for me. I'm an outgoing person. And when I found myself in this funk and just, didn't want to in my room all the time, I didn't want to eat. I didn't have an appetite. There was something wrong. And I was aware of that. And so my first thought was to, okay, maybe I need to go seek counseling and see what's going on. And a lot of it came from being abused. So but I definitely do recommend therapy. Therapy has helped me. And I'm happy to say now that those thoughts, suicidal thoughts and things have subsided. But to each his own. Everybody's situation is different. And I think that's what we need to be aware of, is that everybody's situation, whereas though his situation may have called for medication to get it under control, mine's was, just going and having that neutral person to hear me without judgment about what I was going through, just to hear me and not say, well, it's your fault. Why are you in that situation? If I was you, I would leave. For me, it was just getting that outlet. So everybody's situation is different. You just have to be aware that it's abnormal and be able to go and seek help. Step outside of your comfort zone, because you can't confront what you don't acknowledge.
You know what? Thanks so much, Melissa. That's very powerful, and you are so spot on that. Much like in everything else in life, situations and all that, it's not a cookie cutter solution to everything. People will react. People will adapt to different things, right, in different ways. And I think what you just said is key to that. Some folks may need medication. Some folks may need to speak to someone. Something that Leah and I have talked about for a long time while we've been doing our shows is that there should never be a reason for somebody to feel alone that they can't reach out to someone. And the purpose for us to be here on this platform to talk about this subject as well too is to make sure that everyone knows that there is no reason for you to be alone. Look at all the folks that are here today, right? This is how we build a tribe. This is how we build a community, especially online. So this is critical, and I appreciate you sharing such a profound statement and also part of your life and your story as well too. So thank you. Ken, what do you think?
Wow. Well, I think there was some great information in that. I think she, again, like you said, she's spot on. Everybody's circumstances and situation are different. I think part of what you were talking about there is sort of the community that you have around you, whether it's a professional you can talk to or whether it's family or friends that you can talk to and not be judged, as you said. I think those are that support network that people have, whether it's professional or whether it's a friendly support network. I think those are huge things for people in addressing what's
Yeah, I think we're losing Ken a little bit with the connection on that. Hey, Ken, we're losing your connection, man. You're not coming in at all. Okay, in the meantime, while Ken comes back, I'm going to also be helping out. If I can ask Melissa and Ron, you guys also help out so we can have other folks answer some of these questions and we can rotate everybody around the seats with that. We'd appreciate that. So thank you. And then, like we said before, put a 1 if you want to hop in. Wait for a seat. Once you answer your question or you make your statement, please hop off so someone else can hop in and share as well too. All right? So I'm going to be hopping off. Sheila's coming on, and hey, welcome. You can answer one of those questions.
Okay,
I'm hopping off. You have JR on here as well too.
Hey guys, so I'm Sheila Andres, and the thing I wanted to share about depression is that I actually went through it. And I think many of us don't fully understand it. We hear depression, we say we do, but until you go through it, you don't even realize or aware that it's hit you. And I'm an advisor and strategist, so I meet so many beautiful people, business owners and entrepreneurs. But when it boils down to the human factor and meeting people in themselves, I think what I've realized when they're connected and bonded and they're sharing with you, that depression hits people at least once or more often in their lifetime than, we even realize. And if we do realize intuitively, I think like Melissa shared, you can tell that there's something wrong. But unless you're aware of the symptoms, unless you are truly understanding what depression is, you don't even know that you're going through it. And for me personally, I did go through depression. I was in corporate America for 20 years and I left it. And it felt like a divorce, even though it was a really good move for me. But going through it, I had no awareness and idea that I was even going through it. And a good friend of mine told me and started to recommend a doctor I should see that specializes in depression. And the first thing was complete denial. And then the third thing was I got offended. And I think there was a little bit of shame and feeling in that, because we associate depression to being like, it's such a dark place. You feel lost. You're not where you're supposed to be. Something is lacking. So something must be wrong. Maybe something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with your life. And so, you want to make your parents proud. You want to feel successful in life. You want to do good, and to feel like you're not there. There's almost feeling of a failure and maybe even as far as shame. But when I retrospect and I look deeply within it, I feel like depression really comes from a core when you're just lacking love. I believe we're a communal group of people. We're not meant to do any of this alone. Life, business, anything. And so when there's a lack or void of love, and love is not a noun, it's a verb, it's a feeling, it's an action. So like Melissa said, there could be triggers, things that, triggers this feeling of lack of worthiness, value of being loved. The other thing is when you feel was that void of love, and when you're surrounding yourself, I think it was Ron or Ken you mentioned it, the environment, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, they're not celebrating you. They're tolerating you instead. And so when you're surrounded by all this negativity, everyone is unique. Everyone is perfect. Everyone has their genius. Everyone has a purpose. And when you're around people, when you're in situations, when you're in circumstances where you're not loved, when you're not feeling that you're purposeful, when you're not being appreciated for your gift and talents, when you're not being seen authentically, it leaves you feeling alone, hopeless, worthless. You start to question your value, and then you go into this deep and dark place. But there's always hope. And when you find love, when you find people that sincerely are open to you, that can love you unconditionally, that love you truly, that show it in their words, that show it in their action, I've seen and have been validated with this, of its power to take people out of that depression. I've known people who are on depression medicine, who sit here and their husband says something, unfortunately, makes them feel bad. When they're around people and they're like, I don't know if they'll accept me. It really boils down to love, But the crazy part is it starts with you. And this is one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I've never done this. And I'm challenging myself today to step out of this comfort zone, to share with people. And it makes it difficult for me because I feel like by saying what I'm about to say, it will dishonor family, people that I grew up with, people that I love, that have affected my belief system, who've helped me to be who I am. But it's not really about them. And I'm sharing this because I think there's a lot of people out there that are like me. And I want them to know that you're not alone, that there's nothing wrong with you. But love, I think, has to start with you first. And I've never was taught how to love myself. And so when the world attacks you, when you're not around people that celebrate you, and you're tolerated, you start to question your worth, who you are, your value, you lose your mojo. And honey, let me tell you, I've got some mojo, okay? Lost your mojo. But when it comes down to it, you're searching for it. You're searching for it. Sometimes you can't truly find it and where, because it's got to start with you. You know, you end up sitting there and it's all in your head. It starts with you. So my thing here is depression, I think, is more common than we may admit. And it can come in various levels, small, deep, extreme. But I feel like you can come out of that dark place. You surround yourself with love. You love yourself, truly see who you are, accept you for your good and your bad. You know that if you don't like who you are, then you could change it. But love yourself, surround yourself with people that celebrate you, that love you unconditionally, sincerely, and surrender to it and learn how to receive it. And you will, I think, find little by little, your life and how you feel will start to change. And we all deserve a life of joy, of happiness, and fulfillment. So thank you for letting me share. That was a mouthful.
That was great. Thanks, Sheila. That was
thank you.
Yeah, no, that was very personal. So we appreciate that you were able to share that with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. HR?
My friend, it's been a minute.
Where have you been?
I've been right here in Jersey. You the one going from Canada to Mexico, bypassing the whole U.S. So right here, you the one moving continent to continent. That's you, brother. That's you.
Fair enough.
Been
Wow.
Since Blab.
It has. It's been, what, 2 years? Probably, hey? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
For those who are viewing who do not know me, hey, Melissa, I see you, girlfriend. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Harold S. Reed Jr. My professional name is HRJR. I call myself your motivator. If you don't know what motivation means, motive plus action equals results, and results equals success. Now, a little bit of my backstory. I'm a retired police officer. I'm an Air Force Desert Storm veteran, professional speaker, published author, certified life coach, as many on this podcast are, or this view are. All that having been said and done with, I'm more of a take it and address it and face it person. Those of you who are on here who know me know that about me already. So my views may be a little bit more different than everyone else's because my views may be a little bit more direct than everyone else's. Call it my post-military, post-police, take charge of the theme personality, but it is what it is, and the results speak for themselves. I too have had Ken, if that cough is going to be a problem, you could go ahead and mute your mic. That way it's all good. I got into an accident on a job back in 2007. I got through that accident with a couple bumps and bruises, but a passenger in the car that hit me head on didn't make it. And it happened to be an elderly woman. And to make a long story short, when all was said and done, I got blamed for it. And I was taken off the road for a few months till they figured out how they were going to deal with having blamed me for it. So after eating some humble pie, playing the game, and, you know, paying some penance for something that didn't have anything, I went back on the road. But because of everything I had gone through in that situation, the job wasn't the same for me anymore. I didn't have the passion I had for it anymore. I had issues in my head that weren't there before. And so I had to get somebody to talk to. So I actually had to undergo therapy for it to be determined that I had PTSD from my incident, and that I had to make a decision whether or not I actually wanted to do the job anymore with that new discovery. And I made the decision that I did not want to do the job anymore. As a result, I had to continue therapy. I had to see other individuals. I had to see actually a total of 3 psychiatrists. I had people from my job tell people on the state pension board that I was faking having PTSD because I had already began my motivational speaking business, and I had already written my first book, and I was already going around different areas speaking and earning an extra income. So there was all these factors playing into how I was going to provide for my family, which was the most important thing for me at that time. So all of those pressures coming on to me, yeah, I had issues. That's where my depression came into play. That's where I actually, on another note, I was watching reality TV. I was watching this show called $1 Million Listing. And I said, you know what? Just in case I don't get this pension, because there was a chance that I wasn't going to get my full pension. I figured the idle mind is the devil's workshop, as they say. So I went and took real estate classes and got my real estate license. And what I realized in retrospect, after having sold a couple houses, but also resolving my issue with my pension and winning and getting my pension, and thus earning my freedom, I realized that I had to take that real estate class to keep myself from doing something stupid. I had to keep myself busy. And then I reflected on why I was doing all of this in the first place. And none of it was about me. It was about my wife. It was about my 2 boys, and how I could not do something else that would ease the pain, if you will, but at the same time create more pain for the people I care about the most. I couldn't leave my wife in a world where it's already unsafe for little black boys to be left alone to raise 2 of them. 1 of them was special needs. I couldn't allow for that to happen. So my presence is needed. My presence is required far beyond whatever I was doing professionally. And from that, I learned I had to discover to follow my passion, which is what I'm doing now. So I will conclude with this. I have what I call the 3F formula.